wanted to talk about the recent game from this past weekend between Manchester City, Chelsea. Probably the biggest game of the weekend, and it was all the more surprising when Chelsea scored in the third minute, taking the lead, which I don't think anyone was really expecting, to be fair. I thought there'd be a bit more of a fight before a goal like that. But over the course of the game, unfortunately, Chelsea did end up going down. I was praying on City's downfall, praying it would continue with this game, but unfortunately, they were able to bounce back for the win. And I'm curious what you guys if you have any thoughts on the game, how it went, Chelsea's position, City's position. I know City started two of their new players. I'm looking up their names now. Hold on. There's Marmoush, Kusanov. Is it Kushanov or Kusanov?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but
yeah.
Something like that.
There's Kushanov and Marmoush, and one of them had a better game than the other, that's for sure. So
a lot of passion into that name.
A lot of passing.
I said a lot of passion into that name.
Yeah, Marmoush.
Marmoush.
I 100% agree. I think Marmoush looks exciting. I was excited for him to come to the Prem. Obviously, I was hoping it would not be for City, but I think he's exactly what they needed. He's like a dynamic player that can switch up their attack from how it has been. It's been very stagnant the last few months. Kusanov, that guy. Rough start. I ain't gonna lie, rough start.
Very.
He had a howler. It's tough. He's a young guy. You could tell he looks young. He's only 20, I think, and he's from the French league. So it's a big step up.
Farmers League to the Prem is a bit of a jump.
Crazy disrespect, but not wrong necessarily. And yeah, it was tough. He looked like he was gonna cry, honestly, after he had that.
I would too after giving that goal away.
Yeah, it was tough.
I don't even know what he was trying to do there. I mean, watching the replays, just the decision making was just very questionable.
Not there.
But you could say the same about Sanchez, unfortunately.
Yeah, we'll get to him. We'll get to him. But I'll say Kusanov, to be fair to him, I think post that, and I think he had one more little misstep, but I think generally until he got taken off, I think he got taken off 50th, 60th minute around there. He wasn't terrible after that. I think he was decent. He started to build a bit of confidence. I think he'll be decent moving forward, but obviously that's a rough start. But yeah, Marmoush, I don't think he played the whole game either, but I'm very curious to see.
He had a lot of chances,
and he looked confident taking shots from distance. It was kind of a crazy whiff, but I'm very curious how Pep is going to utilize him, because it was interesting having him and Foden kind of play behind Haaland, play off of him, but then it meant there was no role for Doku or Savinho really. But then they had Vardiol and Nunes pushing up the wings. It was a very interesting setup that I was not expecting, but it's good to see that Pep. I know you hate Man City, so you wouldn't say good to see for you, but
gotta respect.
Interesting to see, some tactical flexibility. I think Pep's acknowledged that his style, he has to switch it up. It has not been working. The game's evolving, even if it's because of injuries, whatever. Obviously, you don't have Rodri. You have to switch it up, and he did this game. For some reason, teams like to switch it up against Chelsea, which is really annoying. I remember Man U earlier this season, they finally sacked Ten Hag, and then we got I think the Ruben Nistelrooy game. Which is really annoying. I don't know why teams are doing that against us, but it was.
Hey man, you're also stuck with Sancho.
Yeah. Oh my God, this guy. You hate on Sancho from you is crazy.
He ain't all that, bro. He got the same stats as Martinez this season.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't say he's all that either, but you just hate him crazy. But I understand he didn't do anything for
reasonably so. As a Man United fan, reasonably so.
He did not do anything for you. He went back to Dortmund, started cooking again. It wasn't a match. It was not a match for United.
No.
But in this game, though, I will say, Vardiol looked dangerous. As a left back, or I guess he was playing a left wing back. I guess in this game, he looked pretty much playing winger half the time. He was pushing up. He looked more dangerous than any of the other attackers in some ways. And which is interesting because I would have thought his future is morphing more into a center back. But I guess Pep really sees him out on that wing.
I see him there too, honestly, and I was actually a bit surprised with his goal because I think it was Reece James who was meant to be covering him, and there was no commitment to the defense for that goal. Like he was jogging for a little bit and then chose to sprint, and that gave it away for City. But I agree, the positioning there is definitely a bit different from what you'd expect, but worked out in the end.
Yeah, and also Nani Madueke, dude has no like defensive work rate. You got to work on that. Like, bro. And the thing is, he's fast, so like he could track. Obviously, Vardio's fast for a defender too, but he could help track. But that dude's like all about the goals. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say after City tied it up, I think it became pretty clear who was dominant in the game and who was gonna have more chances. Unfortunately.
Yeah, for some reason,
Palmer
Chelsea.
ghosted.
Yeah, don't hate on Palmer, man.
I'm not hating. I'm just acknowledging.
Yeah, no. People are saying Palmer is not a big game player, and I beg to differ. If you look at the Euros final, he clearly is a big game player in my opinion. But if you look at his stats, like 55 goal contributions and 51 starts for Chelsea. He's a cooker. He's a cooker, a chef. One might say. I don't know what the hell a cooker is, man. Well, it was a rice cooker, but he's also not 100% right now. So I think it's not fully on him. There's only so much you can do with the players around you at times. For some reason, Chelsea. This is a management problem for me, where it's like we're playing a high line, but we're also not really pressing. So like. City can just tear us apart all day with those long balls because we're not really making it tough for them to pick out those passes. I don't know what that's about.
And Holland has the strength also to just hold up that ball and play with the rest of the team. Chelsea can't really do anything about it.
It's a perfect style for him, and I don't. That's the one thing I didn't understand why Pep didn't revert to that earlier in the season. When things obviously weren't working out. Holland. When he's running is nearly impossible to stop. Like doing this little tap thing, trying to get him involved that way, it doesn't really work. I think it can work if you have a De Bruyne who's fully fit and can fire in crazy balls to him. But this where Holland's like, you just play it over. Holland can either hold someone off because he's tall and strong, or he can just run alongside someone and no one's keeping up with him. It's a nightmare, honestly, for any defense.
What was your reaction to that second goal then?
Holland's goal?
Yeah, I guess.
Oh boy.
Boy. Yeah.
Let me pull up the replay real quick.
Yeah.
Just to remind myself.
Then. Yeah, that's the Sanchez howler.
That was the Sanchez. Yeah.
Second howler because the dude should have caught the first ball that Vardy ended up scoring anyway. This guy, I'll let you talk first.
No. Go ahead. I hear the passion in your voice.
As a Chelsea fan, this guy has got to go. Robert Sanchez, I don't know how the hell you've conned your way into being a Premier League starter. I know he was at Brighton before. Brighton keep just shipping us players, and they know they can slide in some terrible ones with the good ones. Because Caicedo, he's stepped up his game. Cucurella stepped up his game. But Sanchez and Maresca, after the game, said, we're sticking by Sanchez. I don't know what Sanchez has on him. It's got to be some kind of blackmail. This dude is terrible. And we have Jorgensen on the bench, who was one of the best keepers in Spain last year. He's just sitting there wondering, when can I leave? Because obviously you're not getting playing time over this dude who literally is playing back and forth, thinking he's a center back trying to mark Holland. And Holland, obviously the best finisher in the world, chips it over because you're terrible, bro. Like this, bro, I can go on for
the decision making too. Like we just said, Holland, when he's running full speed 1v1, 90% of the time he's probably going to win that fight and have a shot on goal. So you as the goalkeeper, when you're that far away too, and you see this 1v1 is coming, just making the decision to, instead of retreating back into your box, back into the goal, to go after it is crazy. Yeah. It's criminal. Yeah, I mean, that's like middle school level decision making. I don't understand. I truly don't. I mean,
And if you're
yeah,
gonna commit to it, obviously it was the wrong decision. But if you're gonna commit to it,
fully
commit to
commit
it.
then.
This
Like,
dude was
dive in
back
there,
and
take a
forth.
yellow or something.
Something. I just don't understand how we think we can actually be a contending team with this guy as our starting keeper. Surely Maresca's just doing this just to satiate him for a little bit. But this summer, if after the summer he's still on the team, this has to be sabotage, like actual sabotage. Because we'll talk about him too right now anyway. I'll just bring him in as well. Jackson just Palmer laid it on a plate for him early in the game. And this
Yeah.
dude, for some reason, cannot shoot with his weak foot, and he had to take a touch, and we could have been 2-0 up, and then
Well, I
because he
will
was
say,
in the-
actually, I recall, I think Palmer's ball also was not that great. The
it wasn't
pass.
it wasn't a perfect pass, but if you're a clinical striker, especially if you're running in motion, you slot that away. Like obviously Holland's left footed, so it's different. But even like
Yeah.
I'm Mbappe. It's not fair to like compare him to the best, but even like general Chris Wood is putting that away. Like it's a simple enough if you have a weak foot, tap in. But this guy just has no confidence for his weak foot, and I don't want to hate on him. He would be an amazing backup striker for Chelsea in our ideal starting 11. But we can't have. I don't think any team can hope to have aspirations if you have a non-clinical striker and a terrible goalkeeper. And I'm sure United, you're familiar with that. But
More with the striker part, but
yeah. But even Onana, who has like mistakes in his game, you
Yeah,
can't have
yeah.
both, because then you're gonna lose on both ends. You either have to have, if you're gonna have a bad keeper, you have to have a crazy striker, so we're just outscoring teams even if we're conceding, or we have to have a very good goalkeeper, and like when Jackson takes his one chance every 5 games, we're winning games 1-0 at least. But we can't have it both ways, where we're having a terrible keeper and a non-clinical striker. We just can't. So one of them has to go. Hopefully it's Sanchez, but yeah, we just can't do it.
It's like FIFA Pro Clubs, man. You can't have a good team across the board. Just you can only have one good part. The actual people playing the game. Yeah. All right. Well, sorry. I'm just rewatching this clip over and over again of Holland scoring that.
It's
That's
just
just
it's abysmal, man. It's abysmal. Like this generational throwing.
I don't
Um,
know if people make like worst goals of the season like compilations, but that needs to be up there.
He can be over in a couple of them, man. Him and Onana going bar for bar, man. It's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any
Well,
thoughts, Eric. Well, yeah, go ahead.
no, yeah, I was about to ask Eric if you have any thoughts on what you've seen from the
Yeah.
highlights.
Yeah. So I actually going back to what's the guy's name? The new player on City, the guy what is it?
Kovacic, was it? Let me see.
The new guy, Kushanov.
Kushanov.
Kushanov. That's who yeah. So did you guys attribute that error to like, so are you seeing that? I know neither of y'all are City fans, but y'all see that and think like, man, this guy's just, nervous. It's his first ball in the Premier, like, in the Premier League, and like,
No, I'm
you know.
genuinely confused why he did that. Like, I don't even care about the context of that. Like, the height the ball was at, you did not need to bend over and hit that with your head. Like, that was just unnecessary. You could have chested it, shielded the ball, brought it outwards instead of just further bringing it in, which is always the more dangerous move. To me, that's just like a defending 101 in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
So you guys
Yeah,
are
I think
holding it
we
against
recommend-
him. You guys aren't like,
No, I
You guys
feel sympathetic personally. Like I get it. It's not easy to come in and play your first game. I know it's not Chelsea of 2012 or something, but it still is a big game, and especially because City aren't on the best form. This wasn't like a guaranteed win for them. So I think there was definitely pressure. I think he thought he was playing, making the safe decision, even though the ball was at a really awkward height, and maybe he doesn't know. He didn't do his homework. That Jackson is very like tenacious, and he will chase down everything. But yeah, it was just by far the wrong decision. And I'm sure he will not make a similar one for the rest of the season. If he does, you can come back and hold me to that.